Hi, everyone. Are you ready to be fired up? I am so excited today. We've got Lena Kay, and she is a coach. She helps people from around the world, and she's going to just inspire you and enlighten you and get you to start taking action. Hi, Lena. Thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate that. So what's going on? Talk to us. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really excited to be with you. So tell you about myself. Where shall I start? Shall I go backwards or forwards?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about, I know you come from some humble beginnings. You've been through a lot. We kind of want to hear about that so people can hear that you're a human like all of us. We all go through problems and situations.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was born in Kurdistan, which is in North Iraq. So we're like a non-Arab tribe. We're like a different. We're probably, I think, we're the us and Israel. If we put it in context, like in the whole Middle East, Israel are like always, have issues with other countries. And it's kind of like that with Kurdish people. They're one of our only allies, actually, in the Middle East. America, the UN, that protect us from being bullied from all the other countries. And Israel has our back. So we're an ally. Although we're in the Middle East, we're a non-Arab tribe. And so, we're in the North Iraq part. So we left because of two wars. Saddam Hussein was bombing the Kurdish people, chemical warfare. And then Iran and Iraq had ongoing war as well. So I was like conceived in war, born during war. And I was raised in London. We end up in London as refugees. So I went, I was raised there with my parents, my brother, and then my parents had a third. We've got another younger brother as well. So there's like three of us raised in the UK. And as a child, it was wonderful. But the minute I got into teenage, those kind of years, I was a bit of a rebel, and a lot of the culture clash, because in the West, what is good is bad in the Middle East, and in the Middle East, what is good is bad in the West. So it was like this real culture clash, from a lot of internal conflict. I don't really know myself, and there wasn't internet either to find the solutions that we can find these days, that we can just search things. That I wasn't brought up in internet time, so it was just a lost soul, you can call me. I dropped out of uni in my second year. I done very well in terms of work. I was always hardworking. I understood that money for me meant freedom. If I have money, I could have freedom over my life. And, because in my culture, the women are very, they don't have much freedom. And the whole thing is, when you get married, you'll have your freedom. So it's that you don't have, and you can't date, you can't have a boyfriend. How are you supposed to get married? You can't have a boyfriend because you can date once you get engaged. Really, that's what I mean, like real backwards kind of compared to the West, what we're used to. So it was, so for me, it was always, the minute I got in the UK, it's national insurance number. Here, it's like the social security number. The minute I got that at 15, I got my part-time job, and I've been working since then. So I dropped out of uni because I was working for like a gambling company, and I was very good at managing, and so they offered me a role and money to leave uni, which I'd done. Naughty in hindsight, probably better for me to have stayed, but everything happens for a reason. So I was in that company, in the gambling industry, and I was managing like 10 gambling stores in my early 20s, like 10 gambling stores around London,
wow.
South London, all the staff, all the money, the training, the customer service, recruitment, all of that was me. And then the company was just very, very, very unprofessional, lack of leadership skills. And I kind of moved on to banking, which I thought, well, it's a corporate company, definitely structured, professional. I mean, what more professionality, if you go from like a medium-sized business to a corporate company, you definitely see the professional kind of difference. And it was kind of like on the outside, I was in my 20s, everything looked like, I work for the bank, I'm making money or whatever. But really inside, I was very depressed, and I end up, cut a long story short, because I know we've got limited time together. Cut a long story short, in my mid-20s, I ended up with like a breakdown. I had a brain tumor, suffered from depression, went through some like traumatic abuse through the system, and I had post-traumatic stress. I was medicated up to my eyeballs for the brain tumor, medication, anxiety. I had panic attack. I couldn't leave my house alone without a chaperone. At one point, it was that bad for about a year and a half. And on top of that, I was medicating myself too, smoking, drinking, drugs, and everything. My life was a hot mess, and I just used to pray for death, really, in my mid-20s. It sounds crazy, but I was really like just I didn't really know. I didn't have a purpose. I was just lost. And it was like in my mid-20s when I discovered, the personal development. And it was actually a video by a lady called Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks. And that was
I love Esther Hicks. I know exactly who she is. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, in fact, oh my gosh, it was just the new moon. We missed it the other day. It was just the new moon. We missed it. We didn't write our checkout like we were supposed to.
Oh, okay. I'm so happy. Esther Hicks is cool. That's so cool. Yeah. So it was actually one of her videos that was the kind of catalyst. It kind of planted the seed that you're responsible for your life. So at that point, my life was a mess. So it was like, well, what do you mean I'm responsible for my happiness, for my health? So that means I created my brain tumor. What does this mean? And it was really the seed that in a way, I really didn't believe it. And I wanted to do some research, but the seed had been planted that you are the cause of everything, good and bad, in your life.
I totally agree. And some people will listen to that and go, well, it's not my fault that my husband had an affair. It's not my fault that this happened. But it's like, well, actually, you have to play your own part because you married that person and you must have seen signs, or even if you didn't, I mean, you married him, right? And I know that's hard to hear, but we are the only ones responsible for creating the life that we deserve. And we deserve the best life, so we need to create it.
Absolutely. And it was that kind of turning point in my mid-20s, which was about 11 years ago now. That was the turning point. And it was then through doing research. So then it was researching things to debunk it. But instead of debunking, I actually found a lot of evidence to support that from different psychologists, different medics. Because at the time, health was really at my forefront of my focus, So for me, it was like, okay, can I find other people that have cured worse things and the same things, and I could. And so it was watching loads of medical seminars and reading books and journals and all these different things, and I applied it, and long story short, slowly started to see change. And so I was committed to the process. Like, okay, if it can work for this, maybe it can work for this. Maybe it can work for attracting love, healing this part of my life, my turbulent relationship. Maybe it can help me because I end up from corporate banking to being on the benefit system, living in the homeless hostel. So it was getting myself together again psychologically, physically, in my health, coming off the medication, coming off the cigarettes, the drugs, everything, and becoming self-reliant, not relying on substances, people, things to make me, for me to depend on it for me to feel good. And, I call it self-mastery. And it was just committed to the process. It wasn't perfect. It was like 3 steps forward, tumble 1 step back, 5 steps forward, 20 steps back. But it was always the fact that if whatever has happened to me, if I can trace it back to somehow I don't even need to understand it, but somehow I've attracted this. And if I can just shift then 1 degree, I can attract and create something different. So, I got off the benefits. I got a job with the sales and business development company, which was like a blessing because I was learning the infrastructure of business. So sales, marketing. So we train many different industries on how to put the right structures for sales and grow. So it didn't matter the industry so much. It was whatever industry, we use the same structures to help them grow. They're about a year, and the whole team was made redundant after about a year. And at that time, I already had a few coaching clients. So let's talk
now about how you made that discovery. Meaning, so you were down and out. Very depressed, not wanting to live, living in the homeless shelter place, having a complete breakdown, and then realizing that you really are the one responsible for attracting and creating the life that you want, your success. So tell me about what that looked like and what steps you did to actually get you from where you were to where you are now. So it was,
okay, so certain things that I still do to this day was just don't complain. Doing what I call this 7-day mind detox, which is like no complaining for 7 days. Every time you complain, you start again from day 1. So it's not really, you can't do it for 7 days. That's hence I've been doing it for 11 years, okay, because we're human. But what it does is it makes you very, very aware. And if you're complaining and you have a negative mindset, you cannot create positive a positive life. And it doesn't mean not identifying things that might not be going wrong, but it's about identifying the problem, but just don't stay focused on the problem. So I'm very solution orientated. Of course, I identify lots of problems. I make mistakes all the time. I lose more times than I win, but because I'm always looking at solutions. I'm always moving forward. So for people on the outside, it looks like, whoa, you're making fast progress and you look like, you look successful, but it's like, yeah, because I've lost so many times. So it was not complaining. It was
so not complaining and having solution-based thinking. We teach that. So solution-based thinking, not complaining. I love that. Okay, good.
Yeah. And it was just, it sounds so basic, and people do it in their mind sometimes, but it's not the same as writing. It was just writing 10 things I appreciate every day. Not that I'm grateful for, because gratitude is almost like there's a bit of resistance, as in like you feel like you should be grateful. You should be grateful, so appreciation, you feel like you just appreciate it. You don't owe anyone anything to be grateful. You just appreciate. So 10 things I appreciate, and I journal, meditate, exercise, and the food. I can't explain how much, even with most of my clients are business development clients, and I can't stress how much I have to go into for them, their morning routines and nutrition. And I learned about stay away from MSG, stop taking artificial sugars. It's because how can I come back to my nature if what I'm feeding myself and my cells is artificial stuff, is fake stuff? How can I become real? How do I know what is true? Yeah. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. So watching what you put into your body, you said something before that and you just you said your meditation routine. What is that?
Just, I get bored easily. I have different meditations. Sometimes I like a guided meditation. Sometimes I just want a silence meditation. Sometimes I just want to take a walk outside or on the treadmill, and I'm just in silence. And that's meditation, just that awareness, just to be present. Anything that can get me very, very present. Qigong Yoga. I love Qigong because it's like moving meditation. I love it. Yoga. And just doing these little things every day, and also, so not just watching what I consume, but watching what I consume here. So it was TV's off, no news, no newspapers, TV was off, and it still is.
All the things you're saying, we teach every morning. Show appreciation, show gratitude, right? Spend a few minutes alone. Take care of yourself. It's a part of your morning routine is so important. Be careful what you feed your mind. What are you saying to yourself? Don't complain. Look, having solution-based thinking. All of these things we teach so much, and it sounds, it sounds so cliche, everyone will say, but research and science backs the reason why all of it is so important. It's not cliche. It really is scientifically proven to work. And sometimes things that are very simple aren't always easy, and they're very simple things, but they're so simple that we overlook them. Right. And so it's a matter of getting them in your practice every day so that you truly can change your life no matter where you are at. And I agree with everything you're saying.
Absolutely. And again, like what you're saying, because it's so simple, all of my clients, it's not like they don't know that stuff. So, exercise is good for them. Meditation. Having a morning routine is good. But it's I always say, no, don't tell me you know anything unless you're applying it. You don't know. You're aware of it. You're aware of information. And this is where people get it twisted. They think, because they've read a book. What have you applied from that book? Well, you don't know it. You've read it. You might even memorize some of it, but you don't know it. Knowledge for me means through experience. You experience, you practice, you're a practitioner. Otherwise, you don't really know it. You're just aware of some information. It's like I say this with love, but it's like my overweight family member who is obese, but she knows all the diets. Well, then do one. Like, don't tell me about all the different diets that work. Prove it. Like, what, and for me, again, it's not really about diet, it's about lifestyle, loving yourself enough to have a lifestyle. But just, for example, like they say, taking money advice from a broke person. Like, they've read all the money books, but, where's the cash flow? Like, if you're broke, but apply it, show us.
Knowledge isn't power. Implementation is power. Because you can be a chronic learner, a chronic, book reader, or a chronic conference goer, but if you don't apply anything, some people are like addicted to education and learning, but they never actually implement, right? It's better to read one book a year and actually really apply it and listen to it and live that way than read 50 and not apply anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For me, it's all about action, internal action, what you're doing for yourself for excellence, versus like the external actions that you take. Because like you said, a lot of people know these things, but how many people apply them? The ones that apply them, if you look at anyone that's ultra successful, the ones that apply them are the ones that move ahead, you know? So it's like you can't bypass and cheat the system. This is one thing that you cannot bypass. There's no secret to success. There's no, secret to good health and getting to just eat well, exercise. It's not, but it sounds so simple that it's like, no, there must be a way I can just lose more weight, or I could just eat well and exercise.
Those crazy pills you see. I lost 80 pounds in 2 weeks. People actually click and buy. It's like, come on, that doesn't work. You have to actually apply things. And if you do research on very successful people, the strategies that you're talking about, that you teach, that I teach, are what all successful people say that they do. And it's just the simplest things. But because they are so simple, people overlook them and they think they're cliche, so they don't actually practice them and implement them.
Absolutely. And like, for example, for you, I saw, you sold 151 houses in a year?
Yeah, my best year we did 169, but yeah, I averaged over 100 most of the year.
Amazing, right? And I know for a fact, just looking at you, just looking at that, I know it's not just the fact that I know that it's the person you are, therefore the things that you do that make you the person that you, the way you think, your energy levels. I know there has to be something to do with food, that you care about how you eat, you care about how you sleep, you care about quality, you care about excellence. I know that you care about your body, your psychology. I know this based on your results. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, I do. You're right.
Yeah, and so people think, oh yeah, if they just they just do that activity, and this is where you get people, oh well, I do the cold calling, and I go networking events, I do the social media marketing. It's like, yeah, but what energy are you doing it in? And what psychology are you doing it from? A poverty consciousness? Like someone said to me the other day, I'm doing 100 cold calls and I'm not getting no one. And I said, okay, try me. Go into your list. Get me a website. Tell me let's do role play. And so she told me the website. I went on it, and we done the role play, and then we reversed it. And when we reversed it, even though I just had just a quick glance over the website, I could say to her, hi, I'm calling from just a role play. I just looked on your website. You guys do this product, don't you? You're based in here. Just taking the 30 seconds, I kept her on the phone longer. If you just call, you don't care. You just care about your sales. You're trying to call me for me to buy from you. Don't. So it's like the place you came from. So once she understood that all she's been caring about is numbers and sales, not people and helping. She hasn't cared about any of the people on her cold calling list. She hasn't cared at all.
Things will come.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like whatever you're putting out there is what's going to come back in. And whether it's, it's that desperate energy that sometimes people have, that desperation for change, to grow their business, to find a lover, that energy will always bring back something on the same level. And it's never something we're happy with, So it's that doing that work, aligning, that doing the inner work. There's no getting around that.
Love it. Okay, so those are the main. Anything else that helped you get out of that place, or it's pretty much you've gone over a lot of it that's helped you get from such a dark place up to where you are now, and now you're very successful. You're coaching people. You've left left the corporate world and went on your own, and you just had great success in helping individuals, entrepreneurs, really level up their business and live a better life.
Yeah, I mean, it's you've got to be committed to the process and to the vision, and being okay with it. Sometimes it can be a very lonely journey, because you're caring about excellence. The world is programming you to be average, and if you're average, you're never going to create your dreams.
Explain what you mean by that. I saw that on your intake form. Explain that more.
Yeah, so it's one of the most. I've done a TEDx talk, and this is the most quoted thing afterwards was this line that I said, that you're designed to win as a human being. We're designed to win, but we're programmed to lose. And so once you get that and you take control over that programming, then once you're aware of your programming, you can reprogram yourself to win.
Explain what you mean by we're programmed to lose, and how do you reprogram yourself to win?
Well, we're programmed to lose from the food. The food that's most available, the cheapest, the most accessible and convenient is the most toxic, it's not even food, it's just chemicals. Yeah. The television when you look at like any marketing, if you study any marketing book or whatever, they'll talk about the reshareable, the stuff that goes viral, that's reshareable. The stuff that the news uses is a lot fear-based. they've understood that if something scares you and it's fear-based, it gets more shares and more views. And so they keep doing that because the views, like if they just show, oh, this puppy was rescued and wow, there's a new cure for this, it doesn't get many shares. Yeah. So for them, for the ratings, they're always so it's always programming you to fear. If you just look at the emotional state of any soap operas, of the news, the things that the most popular music, it is such a low level, such a ridiculously low level of consciousness. Like some of the most popular music and TV shows, all it is, like you'll see it, is sex, drugs, money, luck, and it's like, this is what the majority is programmed with, and you want to.
Well, and that's what happens when you only feed your mind with that. It's like it's negativity, even when I don't even like watching the news. I mean, in fact, everyone was making fun of me because I wasn't really. Oh, didn't know about that new virus. That's whatever it's called. And I'm like, I don't like to listen to the news because I don't like to be around that negative stuff. I mean, of course, I do once in a while, but I try to infuse my brain with positivity because I know it's a struggle, right? So the more
absolutely
in there that
absolutely. I don't even watch the news. We don't have TV in the home. We don't buy newspapers. I'll get like headlines and stuff I follow some independent journalists online, and they're very neutral. They're not pro-Trump or anti-Trump. They're in the middle. They'll say good things, bad things about every side, and I get a very balanced view from but those independent journalists that have been in the game for a long time, they will never be hired by the mainstream channels because the mainstream channels have their agenda. So you cannot be programmed by these people. If you're taking a side, you're not seeing the truth. Simple. I don't care left or right. If you take a side, you're not seeing the truth. If you're in the middle, you'll see the truth. You can choose, let's say for elections, for example, you can take back a side and then choose, but not through, if you're just on one side, you'll never see the truth. And this is the problem, programming.
Yeah, I get it. We are being programmed because of our environment, right? And even sometimes people are programmed because of their home environments, right? Some people were programmed to hear things like, money doesn't come easily and frequently, and all these things like money's bad, and you take a lot of research shows that when you take somebody out of when they were growing up in poverty, that's all they see is poverty, so that's all they believe they can do until their mind really switches. So that is part of programming in too, is our environment that we've gotten brought up in. So we have to learn to really reprogram our brains. How do you suggest people go about reprogramming their brains?
Well, first of all, you've got to be aware. So it's paying attention to, like you said, first of all, your environment. So removing yourself from negative people. You can love people. Doesn't mean you need to be around them all the time. You should be so busy on your purpose and your goals that you don't have time to just hang around. You don't have, even if you see your family is structured once a week or once a month or whatever your relationship is with people, it has to be so structured, valuing your time, and more importantly, this, and then becoming aware. So becoming aware, what's the most important thing? So money impacts everybody in their life, whether it's through the company they work for or the business that they own. What is your first memory of money? What's your first programming that you're conscious of about money? How do you feel about money? How do you feel about people that have a lot of money? How do you feel about sale? How do you feel about it? If it's negative, you've got some negative programming going on there, because money is actually neutral. There's more money than people in the world. So money's not the problem. Lack of ideas is a problem, and people are programmed to have a lack of ideas and to be average. And so first thing is awareness, whether it's, again, with your physical body. People have these negative belief about what their body could. They believe other people can transform their bodies. They don't believe they can, so therefore their transformation is slower. Finding love. People think, oh yeah, well, it's easy for them to find it. It's hard for me to find love. And so then it becomes harder. So this is programming, because life responds to our beliefs, right? And so first of all, be aware of what it is you've actually been programmed with, the limitations, anything that you feel limited by. It's not the world that's limiting it, it's you, it's your programming. So awareness. And then what do you want? So if you think of what you want in its completed state, what beliefs will serve you? What beliefs must you have in order to achieve that? What beliefs will serve you and propel you to get there? And sometimes you can adopt other people's beliefs. You can, if you listen to some people that are really successful, they always have this they're always very optimistic about business ventures and about things. You can adopt that from people, and you can adopt beliefs. And one thing I love about Abraham Hicks, one thing I learned from her is she said, beliefs are just thoughts you keep thinking. And I thought, that's interesting. So that means if I keep thinking, these new thoughts, they'll become beliefs. And they have, you know, like the beliefs I have now, I didn't have them before. And actually, every time I try and move my business to the next level, like let's say I've reached a plateau, I'm like, right, okay, I want to take my business to the next level. I have to re-examine my money psychology. I have to re-examine what I think about business and make sure it's in alignment. Does anything need tweaking? Have I dropped down to any poverty conscious level? Because I've been, you know, brought up with a lot of that, with a lot of lack. So it's automatic for me to go back there after, no, consciously, you know, just be aware of my psychology. And sometimes you can be aware from what people say around you, as you can just identify family and friends or co-workers or neighbors when they have if you're aware, not judging them, but just be aware of what comes out of people's mouth. Is a lot of fear, negativity, limitations. So then by default, they are limiting their human potential, you know.
And then we want to stay away from those people. And then I'm reading a book right now, The Magic of Thinking Big, and it talks about how you should, you know, look at people. And I've actually read it already. I'm on it for the second time, but you know, he says, like, follow people that are really, really successful, and, you know, people that you know that are more successful than you, and look at the qualities that they have, the behaviors they have, how they hold themselves, and then really compare yourself to that and go, okay, how can I improve on the good qualities they have? And he says to do the same thing for people that are negative and that, like, you know, nothing ever goes their way and they're, you know, not as successful and life sucks for them, right? And really look at how they go about what they think, what they say, what they do, how they show up, and compare the two. And if you look at really successful people, you know, number one, they have the belief system that what they're doing is going to work. They're more positive. They're more optimistic. They're more enthusiastic. You know, they say positive words, not negative words. There was actually, speaking of that, there was a study that was done by Twitter, and Twitter could actually predict areas that had arthritis. It's like a heart disease. Based upon the words that were used, they could predict that areas had more heart disease than areas that had good words that were used, right? So even more so than diet, what you drank, exercise, they could predict more who would have more of this heart disease, more so than anything else, was by the words that they use. Because what you say is what you think. What you think is your beliefs. What you believe helps with how you act and what you do and what you say. What you do is actually your life, right? So it's like what you think is actually how you act, which then is your life, right? Your outcome. Input equals output. So important. And again, people think it sounds so cliche, but it's not a surprise where there's hundreds of books from scientists and doctors and that scientifically prove that what we say, how we think, our thoughts control everything. That our thoughts, what you think, can actually, visualization could actually mean more and produce more mental activity than when you actually do it. We can go on and on about this. So it absolutely works. Okay. So we're coming down to our ending here, Lena, and it's been great. So I always ask everybody, if they could give one piece of advice to help people like really succeed in business and in life, what would that be?
It would be to have a very clear vision of what you want to create. First of all, make sure it's something that the goal is your goal, not other people's, not your idea of success from other people. Is from your heart. It rates 10 out of 10 from your heart, the vision. And then every single day work towards that, like psychologically, be very aware of that, like work towards that, work on your psychology, your emotional intelligence, your physiology, like every single day, work towards that, and don't depend on motivation. I don't like people ever to refer to, oh, you motivate me, your videos. No, motivation is not a friend. Okay, if we feel motivated, that's great, but it's not reliable. It comes and goes, there's waves high and waves by. So structures, reverse engineering the end result, reverse engineering that to find what structures you need, what habits you need, what kind of lifestyle, and if you just commit to excellence in everything that happens, whether it is, like you said, at this time of this recording, like the coronavirus, how to act, how to behave, bring excellence into it. With your lovers, bring excellence into it. With the business that you own or the company that you work for, always excellence in everything, day by day. Your mindset, is it a mindset of excellence? Your habits, how you eat, how you live, how you talk to people, how you talk to yourself, the actions you're taking in your business, on social media, is it excellent or is it average? And this, just committing to excellence, means day by day you can have a tangible, you can tangibly progress, emotionally, psychologically, financially, in any area, if you commit to the external and the internal actions.
I love that. And set feelings aside. I love what you said about motivation, because you're not always motivated. You're not motivated at 4 a.m. to get up out of bed, right? You're motivated to sleep and cuddle and to stay warm, especially when it's raining. Sometimes you have to take, the motivation, the feeling aside, and just stick with the habits and the commitments and the vision as to where you want to go. Lena, thank you so much. So people want to learn more about you. How can they find more about you?
Thank you so much. They can go to lenakay.com or any of your favorite, like wherever you are on social media, what your favorite social media site is. It's the same handle and everything. It's at I am Lena Kay. And yeah, you'll be able to find me on whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you are, I'll be there. So at I am Lena Kay.
I love it, everyone. So I hope you're as fired up as I am. Lena, this was great. And remember, this is wonderful that you're learning. It's wonderful that you're here. And I appreciate so much that you spent this little bit of your day with me. I appreciate that. But if you don't actually implement and actually learn something and do, nothing is going to change. So implementation is much more important than actually learning. Make a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next time. Hey there, I have a brand new podcast called Fired Up with Krista Mashore, where I bring my high energy right to your ears. This podcast is available on all your favorite podcast platforms. So do me a favor, go subscribe and leave a review. All this information is free and I cannot wait to teach you everything I know. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.